Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
don't know if they did. It's just a Bobcat.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start the meeting. It's 5 o'clock. And we'll start with the roll call, please, Joan.
Mark Campbell,
Here.
Bob Lehman,
Here.
Jim Archibald,
Here.
Paul Sprague, Dan Lilly,
Here.
Wayne Banks.
Here. Okay. The minutes from last month, I looked at it. I have one issue. Anybody have anything else on the minutes from last time? I think there's an error in the minutes, Joan, and it has to do with the wait list transfers. I do not believe that the ordinance allows that. I know we already did it, but mooring permits you can transfer, right? But I don't believe that the ordinance allows wait list spots to be transferred. Just check it out. I was looking at it ordinance today, and I won't say it doesn't allow it. It doesn't say anything about it. So
then we may be setting precedent,
yeah, we did.
which is,
We may have, and I don't think it's a good idea to be able to transfer your wait list, because if we allow that, the wait list is never going to move.
A number of
You know.
years ago, the commission did it.
Yeah, well, it was a special circumstance. I'm just saying, I think we need to correct
Back
the
then, too.
minutes from the last meeting about with that in particular. It's in D. Just take a look at it, please. All right, open forum, nothing scheduled,
We
like
haven't voted.
apparently.
We haven't voted the minutes.
We need to vote on the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve last month's minutes. The right word.
Second.
What would the right word be, Joan? So
With
with
correction.
the correction. Yeah.
I'll second that. Oh,
All in favor?
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks. I will also mention that because we changed the date, we have another commission coming in behind us, so we kind of have a time deadline here. Okay, so nothing scheduled for open forum, no scheduled requests, any non-scheduled requests? Okay. All right, I guess, Bart, you're gonna wear two hats tonight, right? As the exec filling in for Jim, who's on the West Coast right now. And for the harbor master, so go ahead.
Okay, so Jim reports that yesterday he received a message from Brad Flood at TPG advising that the surge protector inside the pump out shed at East Ferry was making a loud noise and started smoking. He told Brad to throw the disconnect, and today Joe Ford and Mike Glear are going to take a look at it. I don't know the result of that.
Okay.
Jim also reported that the work has begun at the boat ramp at Fort Getty this week. Next, he said that he met with Joe Gorgie at TPG down at Dutch Harbor to discuss repairs to the town docks. Paul Sprague attended from the commission. TPG is going to start the repairs by April 1st, and the docks are scheduled to begin installation into the water mid-April.
They didn't tell me about that meeting.
Finally, Jim reported on letters of support for the touch and go dock at Fort Getty. I think attached to the packet is the letter from the Conservation Committee in support, which I thought was well done. letter. And we also have received a letter from Meg Miles at Connecticut Island Sailing Foundation in support.
Right.
Jim has also asked Marissa Quinn, who is the chair of the Fort Getty Ad Hoc Committee, for a letter of support as well. And that's all we have. Oh, no, the final thing is just that we are making progress on, Joan is making progress on assigning moorings to the permit holders, getting that whole process through, and also whatever reassignments and so forth have, need to take place. So that is ongoing. And that is, all from Jim's, unless anyone has any questions.
Okay. I would just add, yeah, I was down at, the boat ramp at Fort Getty on Monday. Paul Sprague was already there when I showed up.
I was there a couple days myself too.
Yeah, I went Monday to yesterday, Tuesday, and today.
I did too.
Saturday, he told, according to Paul, the equipment showed up on Saturday. Nothing happened over the weekend. They were going at it on Monday. A lot of work going on.
In the rain.
Tuesday, when I went down, the equipment was still there, but nothing was happening, but it was in the early
It
afternoon.
was in the, it was in the afternoon.
Okay.
And they-
And then, yes, today, I went down, equipment's gone, so I think the maintenance that they were doing at the ramp is done unless they're coming back.
No, it's not.
What do you,
That
have?
should have been my.
Speak into the mic, Jim.
That should have fallen under facilities there, Mark, for me to report.
All right, okay, we'll come to it then. Just hold that thought. All right, Bart, go ahead with the harbor master.
Sure, just on the harbor master end, again, not a whole lot going on, but we're getting ready to ramp up. The good news is we have our same team from last year in terms of assistants. I've confirmed that. Mike Peruta, and Larry Goss. So we should have, this will be the third year for Larry, and Joan together, and the second for adding Mike. So should have a good group, and we're ready to get going.
What about, interns? We're gonna,
Yeah, we're working on that. There's a, I've got to confirm with Jim, but we were going to, the thought was to go to Mass Maritime. There's a career fair going on in April, and Jim had looked into that, whether we would attend. Our goal would be to have a single intern like we did last year, but we have not filled that spot yet.
okay. Any questions? All right, thanks, Bart. Year-to-date financial report.
Yeah, so you all got a copy sitting in front of you there. I think basically everything's looking pretty good. I mean, we're obviously, quite well along in this fiscal year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, things are tracking pretty well. I did have a question from last time about the retirement system payment, but that seems to have been, looks like that's been worked out of the budget somehow. So,
Okay. Do
in
you,
general, yeah, I think we're pretty good shape.
do you know what we have budgeted or what we're expecting to pay for this, Fort Getty work?
There was a $4,500 amount mentioned for the equipment rental.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that meant for the drivers of the equipment or not.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I think, I think the operators were from, the Public Works. I think so. I don't know, but I guess this is a question for finance.
Yeah,
I think, I know we have to pay for the rental equipment, but I don't know if we also have to pay for the hours that those guys are doing the work.
I would imagine that we probably would, yeah.
That's how it's been.
But
passed.
Ed Mello did say that the heavy equipment that they had to rent is 4,500. And I don't know if it was for a day or a week. I just remember the number.
Okay, yes. All right.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that and just see where it shows up. I
And
can
that
talk to
left
Tina about
today.
it.
They came and got it today.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I'll talk. It's probably too early for me to talk to Tina about it because it won't come in yet, but over the next few
Yeah.
months, I'll,
By next meeting.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we just talked about budget. Is there anything else on budget?
No,
Okay. All right, Jim, facilities, go ahead.
The Fort Getty ramp I went down there a couple days. I didn't go down on Monday. And I was surprised to hear that they did it during the rain and the shitty weather, but they did. God bless them. The rented equipment had a very good extension. I would say it was about 60 to 70 feet.
That was huge. It was a
Yeah,
big.
it was a
piece.
big machine. And he was dredging, and he dredged from about 33 degrees in both directions.
Hmm.
Now, he made a pile of all the sludge, the silt, next to the ramp. Then he relocated in the afternoon yesterday, probably after you were there,
Mhm.
and he relocated all of that, and it all got smoothed out.
Yeah.
So it's all flat now.
Right.
And then John was in the Bobcat, commonly known as Cato, and he was smoothing out the ramp itself.
Yep.
So the big heavy equipment left today. There was no one in the Bobcat today, but I did see John in town, and he said that there is more work that they need to go back to get. And I asked him if Mike Gray is aware of that, and he said he thought yes.
Okay.
So there is more. Now, when I looked at it today, there was still a bit of a mound going to the north where we had the discussion that we want to increase the depth with the arc to the north. And I mentioned that to him, and that's when he said, we have more work to do down there.
Okay.
So he has been made aware of that. And he did tell me that Mike's aware of it. Now, when exactly they're gonna go back and do that finishing up work, I'm not sure.
How about on the ramp itself with the stones and stuff? Did they take care of all that? Did
The
that look?
stones were moved originally to the south side of the ramp. And then Paul had mentioned to them, can we move them just right out of the way?
Mhm.
Because we're concerned about if the ramp was breaking it, undermining the ramp.
Yeah.
So they moved all of those. So everything's clear
Okay, good.
the whole way down the ramp.
I think it's going to be an improvement, I think it's a Band-Aid because, another year,
Weather will.
another year or two, depends on the
Still
weather,
here.
but we'll be doing it again.
Right.
I guess the good news is the permission we got to do that work this time is good for 5 years, so that permission slip we have is a 5-year window, so we can, I guess, go back again if we need to 3 or 4 or 5 years from now. Okay. Anything else? on
Well,
this?
Tony will let us know.
Yeah.
So the other things on my mind and should be on everyone's mind is we've been discussing a couple different touch and goes or a dock addition at Dutch Harbor. And we really haven't moved on either of those. I know if you were going to do something at Fort Getty, we need to ask for permission for, it's in some of this, how you would term it, but a conditional approval or
Right.
an actual change in
Can
the
you-
water quality in a specific.
Right. Can you
Right.
hold that because
I know it's
that's something
later
that's
in it.
coming
Yep.
later on the agenda that I need to bring.
But
up.
we can't forget about the one in Fort Getty too,
Okay,
the one that you made a drawing of.
right.
And there was discussion about
Forget it.
Dutch Harbor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's something I want to come to later on if it's
Okay,
okay.
that's fine.
Okay, is there anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, thanks, Jim. All right, Gould Island, Wayne,
Nothing.
Bob,
I think so, June.
June, okay, same as, okay,
Can
June.
I ask why you're pursuing that?
Why are we pursuing it?
Yeah. We as the Harbor Commission.
It's on our plate now
Why is it on our plate?
because they just, I don't know if dismantle's the right word, but the people who were first handling that said, we're done. This is something that Harbor should do now. So it's just basically, we have a representative on the committee.
Okay,
And, you know,
and that's how it came to it.
yeah. And we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I
Yeah,
think,
I think it's something we just need to keep on the list to be aware of. I don't know that there's much at this point that we need to do about it, but we do need to be aware of what's going on over there eventually.
yeah. And I think
Okay.
I think we're talking, if anything is going to happen, it's going to be a
Year.
long time from now.
Long time. Yeah.
Personal opinion. All right, from the Conservation Commission,
Yeah, nothing really other than, you know, we did formulate the letter like you asked, and that got approved at conservation, and now was part of your packet. So
Right.
along with the other letters, I think you guys will be all set.
yeah, I really appreciate that too. Appreciate the
Nice
support
job
from
on that letter.
Conservation.
It was very nice.
And thanks for the letter.
Yep.
Which is part of our package. Now, Joan, or it was mentioned that Meg Miles also provided one. that just came out yesterday.
Yeah, just you saw.
I don't think it's part of this package tonight, but she wrote a nice letter too in full support of what we hope to get done at Fort Getty. So I'm hopeful. Okay, Town Council. Nancy's not here. All right. Old business, and this is where we come to what
Yep.
Jim was just talking about.
Mhm.
Okay. Like he said, and I feel like we have a bunch of balls in the air right now. I think perhaps too many. You know, we just acquired the Woodpile Pier on our plate. We got a new touch and go at East Ferry that we've started talking about. We got the silt project going on now at the ramp. We have the idea of the West Ferry, you know, another touch and go dock at West Ferry. And then we have this, you know, the boat ramp, you know, what do we do? Do we ask for special permission? Do we look for a water type change? And what about a dock there as well? So it seems to me we need to focus on one of these things.
Well,
not
prioritize it.
Yeah, prioritizing for sure, but,
Oh.
and, you know,
What about a 5-year plan?
well, that's part of it. We need to start
Right.
thinking strategically and not just, you know, we're acquiring stuff left and right in between meetings.
Well, we used to have a 5-year plan.
Well, there is, there
Let
still
me know
is,
With the budget.
there still is one. And, but I don't think any of these things were on it. These are all kind of
When was the last time it
new
was
ideas,
looked
new
at?
developments, you know, the Woodpile Pier, nobody
I-
planned for that.
I haven't seen it. I'd love to see it.
I'm pretty sure it's on the town website.
That's something of,
Yeah. All right, okay.
if you have it, can you send it to me? Thank you. Yeah, if you can find it.
I've got a question about the woodpile. A couple of meetings ago, we talked about, are we going to get the money from the town to maintain that? Has that ever been resolved?
No,
Has anybody asked the town about it from here?
I thought Jim was going to take that up with
Oh, he
Ed.
was,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he was.
if I remember right. Yeah.
And the other thing about the West Ferry touch and go, not clear to me what that is. I've never seen a sketch of that or what.
yeah, it was before you came back.
Okay, there has been one in
Yeah,
circulation.
well, it was just a rough, you know, we
that's-
went down and brainstormed
That's
some
all I need. I
ideas.
don't even have that, so
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what we would be voting on regarding.
Yeah. We're not voting on any of this stuff right now.
Okay.
My point here is I would like some feedback from you guys. What should, where should this focus be right now?
Right.
Okay? So I'm willing to listen to what.
Yeah, my opinion is since we seem to have momentum around the touch and go at Fort Getty, that we should continue to, concentrate on that and get that out of the way because
I
that's a
agree.
major, kind of thing that we've been focused on. So that to me is the number one thing that we should be continuing to kind of get through because we're not there yet, right? We still need to collect these letters. We still need to get them along with the town then, and, then determine, what approach we're going to take to
Right.
CRMC for this. So, there's still plenty to do on that one, but that to me is what our top priority at the moment would be. Followed up, I'd say, number two is this, what Wayne was just talking about, the wood pile pier. I don't know how that's going to affect the budget there. We were given responsibility for that, but no money to go along with it. And I have no
And
idea
I don't
what
know
that means. Yeah.
we'll ever have the income to take care of that.
Right.
You know?
That's concerning, so we need that answer as well. So those to me are the two biggies on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I would agree with both.
I
of them.
agree with that too.
Okay.
My concern about the Fort Getty thing is engineering. How do you make it work without it getting blown away in the first storm, that kind of a thing. I think we need
Yeah.
to firm up our, conceptual design of how we think it should work. And we guess we need Paul involved in that as well, and Jim. Whether it's a drawing or.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just maybe a little cart before the horse there until the CRMC actually says, do anything about it. I don't know whether it's worth more than we've done, right? Which is conceptually, here's what we think we want to do, right? And then if CRMC says, okay, then we have to do some serious,
Sustainable approaches we were considering, and which one did we throw over the fence to CRMC?
I think it's the one that attaches to the piling.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Yeah,
Wrong.
Jim asked this question too, isn't there already a drawing? It seems to me, few years ago now, when, we were talking about acquiring, docks from Newport and, how would we use them? I think Stephen Bois had the, engineering firm just do up, like a brainstorming, here's what you could do.
Right.
And that exists somewhere. I think Jim has it, I hope, somewhere. But it's not any, in-depth study and how you would put the pilings, if there's going to be pilings. I don't know how they're going to do it. But there certainly seems to be a lot of support for the idea, which is great. Which,
And that one is with the piling driven.
it's, yeah.
My understanding, no, my understanding is uses the existing.
So that
outfall
one, I didn't agree with the one that's gonna connect to the
I,
outlet.
I,
That was the one, second one came up from Paul Sprague.
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
There was
I
an
mean,
original,
not a north-south running dock. It's more of an east-west dock.
well, the original one was east and west, right along the boat ramp.
You're right.
And that's where it would be most functional for people that are coming.
And I think that's what,
That's my concern, is there's no clear understanding
Right.
amongst us.
I guess we need clarification.
Yeah.
about that
That
then.
was my point.
okay,
I thought it was for sure the one that was on the piling, on the existing.
no,
But he's saying not, yeah.
no, I don't think so.
So we need,
I know that this preliminary drawing that was on, when Steve Bois was still here. I'm 99% sure it was a east-west type of thing,
Yeah.
next to the ramp, like most boat
It was
ramps
an
have. You
engineered
put your boat
style
in,
drawing,
comes
too.
right over. The whole north-south thing along the pilings for the outhauls, I just think that's
no, I don't.
not, it's too
Yeah,
much, I don't know how we would even afford to do it. But, a lot needs to be done. Yeah, I just want some focus on, do we agree that we should attack this Fort Getty thing for like number one and this wood pile pier two?
Well, I think we should also agree on which one of the two that have been brought up, two concepts for the dock.
Right.
To be narrowed
Yeah,
down too.
Yeah,
Which I think it should be the one next to the ramp
I do too.
with a new pile that's driven.
I don't know the engineering part of it yet, as far
Well,
as
I
wood
think
piles.
in that drawing, which was somewhat of
Well,
a.
we need to find it,
Right.
but like I said, I don't think it's anything in depth. It's just a sketch.
Well, I think it was,
Okay,
Better-
we'll find out when Jim gets back. The other point about this Fort Getty floating dock and ramp, there's another question is, should we try for changing it back to where it was originally as a type 1 water?
Well, let me,
Or I know what you're gonna say.
no, I'm going to clarify there. So it was what it was before. It's never been anything but a type 1. That was before classification that those ramps were in and all that. Classification, in my research in it, I didn't find anywhere where it's ever been changed.
Well, it went
it-
from nothing to 1 is,
Nothing to 1 is what I say.
okay, before classification.
Before classification.
All right.
And didn't we find out the last meeting that nothing's ever been changed back?
That's what,
Correct.
that's what his research has, yeah, kind of indicated. They're reluctant to do that. But I'm of the mind that it doesn't hurt to try to challenge that and just, because our fallback position is this special permit, a special permission thing, which everybody supports. But it seems to me, I know that, I mean, maybe, do you know how long those outhauls were there?
Gosh, they've been there as long as I know.
Yeah, so
And
I mean,
was
I was,
commissioned 12 years ago.
I was talking to Paul about, does he remember? Because he grew up here. I said, were those there when you were in school here, in high school? He said, yeah. I mean, they've been there for decades.
I can't remember.
Sue Romano.
Here's some
remembered
76, I
the
can't
two-
remember
the
enough.
Yeah,
figures
I don't know. I'll do my own research too. I'll try to get hold of Sam Patterson and see if he remembers.
Well,
But
Sue Romano. They've
Yeah.
had an outhaul
Well, you've
there
been here longer than
forever.
the rest of us.
yeah, I mean,
Not something I was looking at, but I remember, thinking how cool it'd be when I was going out with my Zebco off the pier.
Well,
So
Richard has
my
one.
point on this is,
Yeah.
before there was a classification, those things had been there for decades.
Yeah.
Which essentially is like, a marina type of setup. And so I think there's a case there for, this is kind of a special case, special circumstance. I'm not looking to change the entire, Sheffield Cove and all that. I'm just looking to carve out around the ramp and the outhauls and the pier, which, I mean, the boats are in and out of there all the time.
So ramp northward.
Yes,
Yeah.
from the south end of the ramp, north to the pier, out, I don't know, however many yards. It'll come out to a square footage that ought to be, in my mind, a type 1 area. So that we don't need to keep going back and getting all these special permissions to clean out silt or put in a dock or have a decent boat ramp in Jamestown. Just my thoughts. So I guess, I think I'm going to be the one working on drafting up the letter. I guess what I'm asking you guys, should we go for the change in water type? Or just go with what they've said they would do so far?
Well, I think we need to talk to Jim. He's already been in contact with them and he's got a pretty good sense of what they're going to be willing to do. So, I mean, before we make a
Okay,
drastic move, I'd like to know exactly what the
Did you
sentiment is
read
toward it.
this letter?
If we're bringing a knife to a
Was it
gunfight,
in
I
our
don't
last
mind,
packet?
tilting windmills if we have to, but I'd also like to know if we are going to be tilting windmills.
yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I agree.
That's
We
from,
need more info,
that's from the CRMC.
and this is,
Talks about reclassifying or changing the water types.
Yeah, I included
Oh,
that as
it's in
part
our
of our,
packet
yeah.
last-
right,
last meeting.
yeah. Yeah, that's the research you did. Okay, I think we're in general agreement on how to approach this. But I think for now, Jim, you were asking about the Dutch Harbor, West Ferry, new floating docks.
It needs to get
Let's-
in the 5-year plan.
Yeah, okay, but I think that's kind of back burner right now. Agreed?
I'm okay with
All
it.
right,
I just know we've talked about it and we stopped talking about it.
okay. All right, correspondence, we got a letter from the Conservation Commission. Once again, thanks a lot, Bob. Appreciate that. And a really nice one from Meg Miles too, and which is in full support. And I think, like was already mentioned, I think Jim's trying to get something from the Fort Getty Commission or ad hoc committee, whatever their title is. Results from the survey, I think it points to there's a desire for a decent boat ramp. So hoping, we might get something from them too, to support our case.
So the support letters are primarily people that are involved with usage at the Fort Getty area.
Mhm.
So, for instance, you wouldn't want all the different boatyards to write a letter of support or anything.
I don't.
I think our next
Yeah,
people to talk to after this would be get actual letter of support from the town council.
Yeah.
Indicating their support as well. So we get
Yeah,
the,
okay.
the municipality to basically buy into the idea as well, and that should be enough, I would think, to go to the CRMC with.
That's why we need Nancy here at the meetings.
yeah,
We need the rest from Jim first, right?
yeah, we need a lot more information, I think. Okay. Moving on, new business, anything new? It says none. I hear nothing. And open forum. Again, anybody have anything they want to say? Any issues want to bring to the commission? Okay,
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
I'll second.
this is the fastest meeting we've ever had.
That's good.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Good job.
Thank you for coming.